The Xperia 1 Mark IV has a big problem, and that is that it's overheating when you use the camera. And this is really problematic. This isn't like, okay, you use it for 20, 30 minutes, you get a heat warning. No. I tested it out when taking photos, I've tested it out when shooting video, and it's just plain not good. So I had actually heard this, and I was really surprised. A lot of people kept asking me, hey, how is it? Is it overheating? Is it overheating? And I've been using it as my daily driver for about 2 weeks now, and it hadn't overheated at all. I hadn't had any problems, so I was like, why does everybody keep asking me this? And then I went out to go shoot a bunch of photo samples and also to shoot some video so I could include it in my review that I'm going to put out here in a few days, and it overheated several times. Now, so first of all, I went out and I was testing it on 4K video. So I'm outside, I'm recording 4K video. Granted, just for context, it's 100 degrees Fahrenheit outside. It's really, really hot. And I wasn't holding it like up in the sun to where it was just getting a lot of sunlight beaming on it. I was holding it just like normal, shooting it in normal everyday conditions. It overheated in under 3 minutes. It was just under 3 minutes, and then I get the warning that pops up saying that the phone is overheated. Now, that's bad. I haven't seen anything like this since last year when we ran into the Pixel 5a debacle when it was overheating trying to shoot 4K 60. Well, that's a much cheaper phone that shouldn't really be shooting 4K 60 in the first place. Then we have Interstage Right. This phone, once it hits the US shores, they're planning on selling it for $1,599. That's a $1,600 phone. That's supposed to be a pro-level series phone camera setup for somebody to be able to shoot with. So it's really problematic when you charge, I mean, even if they charge $600 for this, $700, whatever the cost, if you're designing a phone that's designed to be a camera replacement, something you can take out and use probably professionally, something for content creators, something that's designed to be able to emulate a lot of the features that a real camera has, and it overheats in less than 3 minutes of shooting video, that is very bad. That's very, 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 very bad. And not even just that, it overheats when you're taking pictures. Just having the camera app open up, I was outside doing the same thing. I was shooting camera samples so that I could include them in my review. I wasn't shooting burst camera stuff. I wasn't shooting 100 different photos. I was just walking around outside with the camera app open, take a few pictures here. Oh, that looks cool. I'll take a picture of this. Overheated again. And then once it overheats, it just keeps doing it because the phone's not cooling off. It stays hot. And this is very, very problematic because it's not like it's just, okay, yeah, the video kicks in and it overheats. Or, yeah, the camera kicks in and it overheats. Either one of those alone would be terrible. But the fact that both of them do it is just plain horrible. And I don't think there's any way that they can fix this. Unless they maybe severely underclock the processor. It does have the Snapdragon 8 Generation 1. And, yeah, it can get hot. Any flagship high-end processor can get hot when it's under load. But this is not really even doing anything crazily intensive. And granted, yes, if you use the Pixel 6 Pro, it gets hot when you turn it on and start shooting 4K video. OnePlus phones, especially the OnePlus 9 Pro, that was something people were having a fit about last year. It was overheating. So when it comes to these high-end phones, and then they can't dissipate the heat, and then it causes them to overheat. So what good is having a smartphone from Sony with all these crazy cameras, this new continuous zoom telephoto lens, the ability to shoot all this crazy video, and it overheats like that? And I don't know. This tells me that they really didn't test this out. There's no way that Sony could have known that this phone does this and then sold it, because this is just horrible. Now, they probably tested it in the spring or in the winter time, and it wasn't really as much of an issue because it was probably much cooler outside. And I've actually made predictions on this before with other phones that have come out in the spring or come out in the winter and say, hey, this is getting hot now, just wait till the summer. We might have a whole rash of these phones overheating during the summer. And I made that prediction about a Samsung phone before, because phones overheating is not a novel issue to this phone. It's something we've been dealing with for years as we keep pushing the envelope with the smartphones and the power they have under the hood. So this phone is actually really, really thin. It's thin. They don't really do a whole lot in the way of heat mitigation in here. There's no ventilation. There's no way to get rid of that heat when it builds up. And I haven't had problems otherwise. Like, I'm using apps, I'm using it normally. I haven't experienced any issues. It wasn't until I started testing out the camera outside that I started having these problems. So if you go out there at nighttime, you go out there early daytime, if you just take it out and take a couple different photos, you wouldn't even know that this would ever happen. But if you try to go out and you want to plan a shoot, you want to go to the zoo and you're outside and take some photos, you want to take some pictures of your kid's birthday party outdoors, this is going to be a problematic thing. It's not like, oh, well, this is a fringe possibility of this happening. If you live anywhere like within an 8-hour flight of the equator, this is going to be an issue for you because, well, when do we like to take photos? Outside. Like, not just inside. Half of life is inside, the other half is outside. So if you want to go outside and take photos or shoot video, this is going to be a problem. And then if you want to shoot like high quality video, if you want to try and stage some sort of a photo or a video shoot where you're going to be outside in the heat, the sucker is probably going to be on tilt before you even get ready to hit record. So this is very, very, very concerning, especially coming from a company by the name of Sony, which is basically the best in the business whenever it comes to making cameras. And they did a darn good job putting the camera setup in here. But what the problem is they are not they didn't plan around the processor. They didn't plan around making sure that it doesn't overheat. Now, Samsung knows about this. OnePlus knows about this. There are a lot of other phone manufacturers who have been dealing with this for a long time. Well, yes, this is problematic. This is bad. Like, this is really bad. And I got the red lights back on here. It's totally unacceptable. And I wish I would have noticed this maybe more over the last week. But yeah, I do stuff in stages. I've been testing it out, testing the battery life, testing everyday usage, testing, making phone calls, using it as a daily driver. And now as I've gotten into shooting videos and taking camera samples, this is when it pops up. So yeah, I think for everything else, it's probably mostly all right. But this right here is the big stickler. And this is the biggest stickler. Because again, what's the reason you want to buy this phone? This. It's not for what's under the hood. It's not for the screen. I mean, yeah, I like the 4K, but it's the whole Sony package. You're buying this phone because you want to have the best when it comes to the lenses that are available to you in a smartphone to go out there and take photos and videos with it. And it's just not going to be able to deliver if there's any sort of heat outside whatsoever. Now, I don't know if there's a threshold, like under 70 degrees, it'll run continuously. Sony hasn't put any information out on that, but Sony, they need to be hung out to dry for this one because this is 100% unacceptable, period, end of statement. I don't know what else to tell you. And I feel really bad about this because I really, really like this phone. Like, I've really been enjoying using it. I pulled my SIM card out of my iPhone. I've been using this as my daily driver. I've made several videos about it. I really like this phone. And this is a serious deal breaker. Like, this takes it into, if you had people that were non-recommending the Pixel over a couple little software problems here and there, this one, this is a major deal that I would be like, look, if you're planning on using this for photos and for video extensively, or more than just like take a couple shots here and there when you're outside, or maybe shooting some short video clips, I just can't recommend this phone, especially for the price point, because it's a crazy expensive phone. Even if you get it internationally right now, I mean, I think still the lowest price you can get is about $11.99, which is what I paid for mine on Amazon. So yeah, there's a whole lot of other phones out there that do a lot better in a lot of other different areas that don't overheat. I even went and I took my S22 Ultra out there I was curious to see how long it would take to overheat, and I recorded for 10 minutes continuously, no problems. It just kept kicking. And I also tested out the iPhone 13 Pro, 13 Pro Max. 10 minutes, I shut it off because it still didn't overheat yet. So when you've got the best phones out there that can handle this, and even the Pixel 6 Pro, I tested it for at least 6 minutes and I didn't have a problem with it. So this is a very, very Sony problem, and it's a very, very big problem when this is their flagship phone. This is what it's designed for. It's designed for amazing photos and video, and it's overheating like crazy very, very quickly. Now, again, if it's 30 degrees outside, Fahrenheit, if it's, not very hot outside, then it'll probably be okay. If it's 60, 70 degrees, you might get 5 minutes out of it. But if there's any sort of warmth outside whatsoever, I feel like this is going to be a problem. I don't know what Sony can do about this, but this should have been run up the flagpole a long time ago by a lot of people that have already checked out this phone. So I haven't watched a lot of videos out there from other people, but the one or two or three I did see didn't really make any mention of it whatsoever. So it's very curious to me that this phone's been circulating around. The review units went out quite a while ago, and there's not been a lot of people talking about this issue. And I even talked to another friend of mine who just bought one, took it out of the box. He was excited about it because I told him how much fun I was having with it. And he was like, so I took it out of the box, and this thing is overheating like crazy. I can't even use the apps like I'm supposed to. And the camera and the video are basically unusable. So this is not just my phone. This is a Xperia 1 Mark IV wide problem. And I don't know what the solution is here, because very disappointing, like very, very disappointing, because I totally love this phone and this is bad. So yeah, that's all I've got. Sorry to be the bearer of bad news here. I wish I'd have noticed this about a week ago, but again, I've got so many phones I'm testing. I test stuff in stages, and I was doing all my photo and video stuff yesterday and today, and yeah, it's not good. So let me know what you think. Let me know what your thoughts are on this. And yeah, we'll see where we go from here. But this ain't it, Chief. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and call it on this one. That's all I got. You have any questions or concerns, please go to the comment section. I will get back with you. I'm not even going to say if you enjoyed the video, because there's no enjoyment here. This is just really, really disappointing, because I really like this phone. And I really hate having to say this, but it needs to be said. People need to know before they go out and try and buy this thing, because it's a very serious concern with this phone. So thanks for watching. As always, I appreciate you being here. Thanks for taking time to watch this video, and I'll see you guys next time.